John Bauer laid sprawled out on his living room couch. A voice from the television disrupted his mid-afternoon slumber. "Coming live, this is Channel 7 News." His eyes flickered, and the blurry room slowly came into focus. The report on the TV continued. "Today marks 486 days since the president issued a nationwide quarantine. Over a year later, and the infection rate is still steadily climbing. In a White House press briefing earlier today, the president urged all citizens to remain indoors, leaving your house only for essential supplies." Before the reporter could continue, the TV abruptly went black. "All right, that's enough. Up and at 'em." Behind the couch stood his mother, Hannah, clutching the remote in her hand. "Time to be useful for a change." She smacked him atop his head. "Ah, Jesus, Ma, come on, I was trying to sleep." "What are you trying for? The Book of World Records?" she remarked. "You've slept all day. That's all you ever do anymore. Would it kill you to take a shower and brush your teeth? What's the point of any of it anymore? The point is, I didn't raise a lump on my couch who only eats and clogs up my toilet. Now get up, put some clothes on, and run to the store for me. We need milk, we need some eggs, and get more toilet paper." John's eyes widened. Did we really go through that many rolls already? "We didn't. You did. Don't blame me. Besides, you see what they're saying on the TV. We're gonna need all of it that we can get. Do you want to be the one caught with your pants down?" She paused for a moment, silently reflecting on what she had just realized she said. John knew that this was an argument he stood no chances of winning. He took a deep breath and exhaled at a snail's pace. "Fine, whatever. Give me 10 minutes and I'll go, okay?" Hannah tossed the car keys at him. "No, you'll get up and go right now, and if you scratch the car, I'll kill you." It was a beautiful autumn day in small-town suburbia, USA. The sun's pleasant rays blanketed the town with warmth and illuminated the plethora of blur oak trees lining the streets. The temperature was an enjoyable 72 degrees Fahrenheit. This was the kind of day that was all too rare. Perfect. There was not a rain cloud in sight. A day like this was meant to be cherished, spent gathering with friends and loved ones, eating, drinking, enjoying life, and taking in fresh air. But no one was outside to enjoy it. The few cars that were still on the road were police vehicles. The local park, once overpacked with smiling children, was now a ghost of its former self. John could see the playground roundabout slightly moving, from the gentle whispers of the wind, echoing its function from what seemed like a bygone era. Getting groceries and toiletries was no longer the tedious chore it used to be. Stores were only operating at half capacity, and even then, many people preferred to order online in the safety of their homes if that was an option. With the enthusiasm of a sloth, John trampled up and down each aisle of the store. Each breath he took in his face mask fogged up his glasses. He collected everything his mother had asked for, absent-mindedly flinging each item into his shopping cart. Afterward, he headed to the front of the store to pay the bill. If he hurried, he could get another nap in before dinner. A large plastic sneeze guard separated him from the cashier. What an ingenious idea! Except for the fact that the cashier would be touching and bagging up everything he bought, rendering any protection the sneeze guard could give effectively non-existent. The cashier was a young woman, the same age as John. Her disposition matched John's to a T. She was no happier to be there than he was. All right, your total is $185.72. She moaned as she clicked away at the register keys. You gotta be kidding me, John mumbled under his breath. Fine, whatever, let's get this over with. He slid his debit card under the sneeze guard. I'm sorry, she said. You don't have enough money on here. Damn it. Okay, fine, I'll pay the rest of it in cash. I'm sorry, but I can't accept cash right now, cards only. So what the hell do you expect me to do? The cashier pointed at his shopping cart. Well, you have 4 packs of Mega Roll toilet paper. Maybe put a couple back. After settling the bill, John began to make his way towards the exit, when thunderous shouting erupted. Get on the ground now! Hands behind your head! It was a police officer arresting a man and a woman. This is crazy! The woman shouted. You can't do this to us! It's only dry eyes, I swear. I just tested negative. I have my test results in my car, pled the man. Their protests fell on deaf ears. He finished slapping the handcuffs on the man and turned his attention toward the woman. She tried to think of a way out of this predicament. Can't you just give us a warning? It's just allergies. We have our masks and we just left them in the car. It's impossible to breathe in those damn things. Sorry, ma'am, but you know how this works. The officer shook his head. If you want to come inside, you need to wear a mask. John was as white as a ghost and began to shiver. He had not seen anyone arrested for something like this. He'd heard about it, but never thought it was true. Mostly everyone he knew broke the rules one time or another. No one took this stuff seriously. That is how the pandemic spread as fast as it did. In the car, John tugged at his seatbelt that was firmly hugging him. It had become more uncomfortable in the years since quarantine. A year locked in the house takes a toll on a man's body, particularly on the waistline. Just 2 years ago, when he was a senior in high school, John was the star quarterback of his school's football team. His rock-hard abs had atrophied and softened into a belly bulge. AM radio serenaded the car ride home. Whether it was the television or radio, news of this pandemic dominated the airwaves. A voice on the radio began speaking. I'm here now with Dr. Abiadon. So, doctor, you tell me, this whole year or year and a half, was any of this really necessary, or is the mainstream media blowing this out of proportion as usual? Dr. Abiadon began to speak. Actually, in my honest opinion, we haven't been making enough of this whole thing. Major cities out there, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. If you knew how bad everything really was, and they would show you what these places look like right now, you'd weld all your doors shut and never come out again. It is serious, it is spreading, and it is not something you want to catch. Wow, that bad, huh? Why hasn't the CDC come up with a cure by now? They really dropped the ball on this one. It's not that simple. The virus is mutating way too fast for us to keep up with it. We could come up with one today, and by tomorrow, it would be made obsolete by a new strain. We are dealing with something 5 times as bad as the Spanish flu of 1918. Even vaccines are only about 75% effective. We cannot count on a cure or a vaccine right now. My best advice? The best offense is good defense. Do everything you can to avoid getting this. It's the only chance we have. Still tired and completely enveloped in the conversation over the radio, John failed to see what was right in front of him. He slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The brakes let out a shrewd howl as the car plowed into the unsuspecting vehicle in front of it, bringing chaos to the deserted neighborhood. Ah, son of a... John lurched forward and quickly threw his hands in front of his face, bracing himself. When the car came to a complete halt, he burst from the driver's seat as fast as humanly possible, eager to access the damage done to his front bumper and the other car's backside. Come on, not today! Ugh, Mom's going to kill me. To John's left was a series of houses, all identical building style. Going down the block, each white with blue window shutters and detached garages adjacent to the property. A figure draped in white came bursting down the driveway next to the car he had hit. "Hey you, what do you think you're doing?" For a moment, John had contemplated running away. No one was around. It would be easy to jump back into the car and take off. However, broad daylight had left too many unpredicted variables. What if a traffic cam caught him somewhere? What if this other guy could make out his license plates? The garage back home was overflowing with supplies. Now. So there would be no hiding the car. And it's not hard to spot a vehicle with a smashed bumper. John threw his hands into the air. "Hey man, I swear to God, this wasn't my fault. You came out of nowhere." He was trying to think of any excuse to wiggle out of this mess. "What the heck are you doing parking in the street anyway? There's a fire hydrant right over there. That has to mean something." His words fell upon deaf ears. The figure had made it to the end of the driveway and continued his tirade of swear words. John could clearly see who it was now, and he knew this man. He was about 6 feet tall and dressed in a lab coat. "Get out of here! Get your own medicine! This is mine, you damn vandals!" The man's wrinkled and pale skin turned ruby red as the words effortlessly flew out of his toothy snarl. A .38 caliber snub-nosed revolver rested in his left hand, pointed directly at John. "Hey, whoa! John's eyes swelled up like two balloons. "Dr. Beckett, it's me. John Bauer. I used to date your daughter. We went to senior prom together." Dr. Beckett's steady aim began to tremble, and he lowered his gun. "Jonathan." His voice was weak now. He raised up his glasses and wiped away tears streaming down his face. Yes, of course, I remember you. What the hell are you doing trying to break into my car?" John fumbled over his words. No, Dr. Beckett, you've got it all wrong. It's nothing like that. It was just an accident. I should have been paying more attention to the road. Just please don't call the cops. I'm in enough trouble already with my mom." Dr. Beckett glanced over to evaluate the damage to both cars. Fine, it's not that bad." He shrugged. "Get the hell out of here, and don't let me catch you around here again." On second thought, give me a hand with some of these bags in the trunk, will you?" He removed his keys from his pocket and pressed one of the buttons. The truck sprang to life. 2 large and heavy duffel bags were inside. John was quick to protest. "Can't you just do this?" "Oh, sure, I could. After I get off the phone with the police to report a car accident," the doctor retorted. "Yeah, I get it. You've made your point." John began to hoist one of the duffel bags up when a vial and a syringe came tumbling out and onto the ground, shattering in the street. He could not pronounce the word, but he knew medicine when he saw it. He guessed it was antibiotics, something he vaguely remembered taking one time when he had an infection. "Hey, be careful with that! Zip up the bag all the way now!" "You've got an awful lot of stuff in here," John said. "What are you going to do with all this stuff anyway?" He asked as he made sure he zipped the bag up. "The same thing you're going to do with all the toilet paper, young Jonathan. And everything else that everyone seems hell-bent on stockpiling these days. You can never be sure you have enough." "But can't you just write yourself another prescription?" "And just where is it going to come from? What happens when the hospital runs out and there's no more deliveries?" That was a fair point. Barely legible scribbled words on a notepad would not really amount to anything if the hospital pharmacy could not fill the order. Inside Dr. Beckett's house, John placed the duffel bag on the kitchen counter, incredibly careful not to disturb any more of its contents. He looked around at the table. Oddly, one of the chairs seemed to be missing from the set. "So, Dr. Beckett, do you mind if I ask you a question?" The doctor shrugged his shoulders in anticipation. "Did you ever finally leap home?" "Oh yes, how original. It gets even funnier the 1000th time I've heard it. Now get out of here while I'm still in a good mood." "Take care, sir." John held out his hand. The doctor looked down at it, studying it like a chessboard, deciding his next move. 10 seconds passed before he reciprocated, and the pair shook hands. "Just, in the name of all things sacred, keep your eyes on the road and your head out of the clouds." "Absolutely." "If you haven't done so already, please make sure to talk with your mother and schedule an appointment to get a vaccine. I cannot stress how important that is." "I'll see, sir, but my mom really isn't too sold on the idea. Neither am I, to be honest." "Yes, I know some people are not, but I assure you, it is not dangerous or anything like that. Anyone who tells you otherwise doesn't know what they're saying." Dr. Beckett took in a deep breath, ready to lecture, but John turned away from him and started out the door. The doctor let out a long and exhausted sigh. Convincing certain people of the truth was impossible. All the information and all the statistics in the world couldn't pierce the thick-headedness of some people. If more had listened in the beginning, herd immunity might have been accomplished. Instead, the herd was growing the opposite way. Neither John nor his mother were one of those crazy conspiracy nuts found across the darkest regions of social media. The vaccine was not going to shave 5 years off their lives, wasn't going to alter their DNA, and if the government had really wanted to track them, they just used the GPS in their smartphones. This was more a matter of principle. When vaccines first became commercially available, only one dose was required. A month into the pandemic, the CDC backtracked and started recommending booster shots. Now in some places across the United States, people were on their 3rd or 4th doses of the vaccine. Who would really want to take it? If multiple doses weren't enough, was the vaccine even working? John was almost out the front door when something caught his eye. A picture hung on the wall. His eyes darted instinctively towards it. He was in the photo. It was a relic of a simpler time. In the picture he stood, 20 pounds lighter than now, next to Dr. Beckett's daughter, Samantha. It was the two of them on the night of the senior prom. Him in a black tuxedo, and her in her beautiful burgundy evening dress. His hand wrapped around her back and ran through her long, wavy dark hair. Even in the photograph, her electric blue eyes lit up brighter than the sequins on the dress. Although it was only a couple of years old, a century may have well have passed. The world was so different then. There was no pandemic, no quarantine. People congregating into groups more than 10 wasn't a felony. Seeing himself in that photograph with Samantha reminded him of the last time he was truly happy. "Hey, how has Samantha been? Did she come home from DePaul?" Dr. Beckett fidgeted with his glasses. "She's doing okay. She's not here," he said. That only partly answered his question. Sure, she wasn't here right this moment. But was she back home at all? Or still in Chicago? "Well, if you could please tell her to give me a call, I'd love to hear from her. Maybe see her again if she's back in town." Dr. Beckett threw his fist into the air. "Certainly not. Not until you've had your vaccine." "So she is back?" "Oh, come on, man, that's bogus. I'm not even sick." A stillness filled the already damp and muted room. The doctor flounced over to John and looked him dead in the eyes. He did not know the definition of personal space. "Now you listen here. His cold, bony finger pressed into John's chest like a serrated blade. "Thanks for the help. Now get lost and don't come back." John staggered back. "Would you calm down, man? What's your problem?" A glass vase plummeted off of its perch, down on the floor. "Damn it! Now look at what you've done, you idiot!" He shoved John further backwards. Bits of broken glass crunched under his sneakers. "Hey, don't blame me. You're the one who started shoving. It's all your fault." "Is someone there? Help, please." A booming but croaky voice exploded down in the basement. The color from the doctor's face washed away, and his agitated demeanor gave way to pure, unadulterated terror. He quickly retrieved his gun again and pointed it at John. "Just leave now and get the hell out of here." John's body quivered with fear. He might have wet himself if he had any fluids left inside of him. He sprinted out to the front door and never looked back, breathing so hard that his lungs might burst. The isolated, cozy autumn day turned from a blessing to a curse. If only someone else had been around, a witness, an extra pair of eyes and ears in case things went wrong. Thankfully, John made it back to the car unscathed. Slumping over in the driver's seat and gulping as much air as his body could take, he searched his pockets for his keys. But each pocket yielded no results. Only pocket lint. Damn it, where the hell are they? John turned to see Dr. Beckett standing outside, dangling car keys in his hand. If it wasn't for bad luck, John would have no luck at all. The window lowered to a snail's pace. Whatever would be, would be. There was no escaping fate. The two men gazed at one another. John braced himself for what was to come next. Suddenly, his lap felt cold. Opening his eyes back up, John could see his keys. He looked back up at Dr. Beckett, confused. "You dropped your keys," was all he said. The keys stuttered into the ignition, and the car putted to life. As John drove away, he could see the doctor's reflection in the rearview mirror, growing smaller in the distance. 20 minutes later, he arrived back at home. His mother sat in the kitchen waiting for him. "Where the hell have you been?" Hannah roared. "I asked you to do one thing." Throwing a slimy, soap-filled towel at him, she continued. "Now that you're back, these dishes aren't going to clean themselves." "Mom, shut up and screw the dishes. We have bigger problems." "Jeez, what's the matter with you? You look like you've seen a ghost." Sweat trickled down his forehead and into his teary eyes, puffy and bloodshot. "Worse than that. Someone's in danger." Hannah put her hand on her hips. "Wait a minute, what are you saying?" "I was at Dr. Beckett's house before and... What the hell were you doing over there? Is that where you've been all this time?" "I had some car trouble." She stomped over to the front window and checked outside, scrutinizing the damage done to the car. "Ugh, thanks a lot, John. You know what this'll do to my insurance rates?" "Will you please just listen to me?" John pleaded. "I was helping Dr. Beckett bring some bags into his house. There were all these drugs and needles when I got inside. I heard screaming coming from inside the basement and he pulled a gun on me." The words could not come out fast enough. John wanted someone to hear this, needed someone to hear it. If someone heard what he was saying, it made it seem more real, and not like the fever-induced nightmares of a raving lunatic. Who was better to confide in than Mom? Mothers make everything better. They know by instinct when something is wrong, and they always have a pearl of wisdom capable of course-correcting the worst situations. "Oh, honey." She leaned over the kitchen sink. Her drink of water sprayed from her nose. "That's it?" Something was wrong here. Perhaps a translation error, or maybe she hadn't heard what he said. There was something missing too. No words of wisdom to make everything feel better. Not even any concern for what he had just told her. "That's it?" John was furious. "He pulled a gun on me. He's got someone locked in his basement. Have you heard a word I've told you?" "Honey, you really should consider going to school. You get your degree in journalism. You could write for the Huffington Post. You're terrific at making up stories." "Are you nuts? I'm not making this up." "I know you're not. Let me just explain, okay? I spoke to Dr. Beckett just yesterday. Samantha's back home from Chicago. She hasn't been feeling too well. Dr. Beckett is really concerned. You probably heard her calling for her father. Maybe she needed some medicine or more toilet paper. Everyone seems to need more of that." This was the first time the thought of whose voice he heard had crossed his mind. That was Samantha. But his gun. He told me all about that. The lower supplies run, the more desperate everyone else is getting. He told me that he got mugged and needed protection. As a matter of fact, from now on, when you take the car, keep your baseball bat in the trunk. You can't be too careful. Maybe his mother could make him feel a little better. But something didn't sit right. Mothers are seldom wrong, but there is a first time for everything. John couldn't let this go. Not until he knew that Samantha was okay. Quarantine be damned. No social distancing rules would keep him away. Not until Samantha's safety was assured. It was 2:30 a.m. when Hannah's dinged and dented car quietly puttered into the neighborhood. To avoid being seen, a black-clothed John parked down the street. Unable to eat at dinner time, he took one last bite of his teriyaki beef jerky and shoved the rest into his pocket. The trunk popped open, and out came John's Louisville Slugger. Better to have it and not need it. The plan was a simple one. The side of Dr. Beckett's house contained a basement window. Peek inside and make sure Samantha was okay. Damp grass tickled John's abdomen as he dragged closer to the window. Pure blackness emanated out the window. Squinting his drowsy eyes, he tried to make out what was inside. "Hello?" he whispered. "Samantha, you down there? It's John. Are you okay?" He inched closer. There was faint movement in the far corner of the basement. Ah! There was someone in the basement, but it wasn't Samantha. Pressed up against the glass, leering back at John, were the cruel, malicious eyes of Dr. Beckett. A husky and guttural growl filled the air. Racked with fear, John couldn't escape the doctor's paralyzing stare. But curiosity has a certain magnetism to it. Averting his eyes to the corner, the source of the sound became frighteningly clear. It was Zeus, Samantha's Doberman, 70 pounds of pure muscle on 4 legs. He sprang forward like a furry rocket and latched onto John's leg. Razor-sharp teeth tore through his pants like a hot knife through butter. He wanted to pass out from the immense pain there and then, but he couldn't. If he did, it meant certain death by Zeus. Or heaven knows, what if Dr. Beckett had dragged him into the house? He dropped his baseball bat after he'd gotten bit. If it could be picked up again, then the chances of survival may have gone from none to slim. But it was no good. The beast of a dog was dragging him further and further away from the bat. That's when he remembered the beef jerky in his pocket. A big dog like Zeus doesn't get that way starving themselves, and even the toughest of dogs love some treats. Tugging at his pockets, the half-eaten teriyaki beef jerky plummeted to the grass. Hopefully Zeus was not a picky eater. "Here you go, Zeus! Come on, buddy. I know we never got along, but please eat the freaking food and not me. Tears rushed down his face and his eyes were swollen and burning. It took every ounce of courage that John had not to scream out. Suddenly, the grip on his leg had loosened. He looked down to see a swollen, bloody mass that he had called his left leg. It was unclear what would be bigger: the physical scar that was sure to manifest, or the emotional scar left behind from the event itself. Thankfully, Zeus was enjoying his new meal and elected to go back into the yard. John limped along and made sure to close the gate. One close encounter with a vicious dog was enough for the night. John's ravaged leg throbbed and pulsated in rhythm with his racing heartbeat. It would surely need surgery at worst, or stitches at best. But he couldn't worry about that right now. The pain had come second to his primary goal: making sure Samantha was all right. Retrieving the baseball bat from the ground, a disturbing thought came to him. Where was Dr. Beckett? He had spied the doctor watching him through the basement window moments before. But after Zeus had attacked him, why didn't the doctor rush outside to investigate further? The basement window was only float glass and wouldn't prove challenging to break. It would not be the quietest way in, but it was the most direct. John placed his jacket bunched up next to the window to absorb some of the sound. Three decisive, yet subtle whacks, and the glass gave way. Next was the tricky part: fitting through the window. Once again using his jacket to wipe away any remaining shards of glass, John eyed his next challenge. Here goes nothing, he thought to himself. The windowsill hugged and crushed his dumpy frame. Halfway through, he began to second-guess his decision, but there was no turning back now. Clenching his jaw and holding his breath, he yanked himself through, centimeter by agonizing centimeter, until he crashed onto the cold and unforgiving concrete basement floor. Once he came to his senses, he hoisted himself up and sat beside the wall for a moment to catch his breath. This was the greatest workout he had undertaken in the last 6 months. The privations of the night had dictated it was back to the gym for him after all this was done. When he properly composed himself and retrieved the bat, left just outside the window for easy access, he stumbled around in the dark until a staggering piece of metal brushed up against his cheek. The light switch. With a tug and a click, the basement lights hummed to life, illuminating the damp and depressing basement more akin to a dungeon. The only way this place would see any daylight at all was through the one and only window that John had just broken. The place was devoid of any unique personality. Folding tables covered in used syringes and antibiotic bottles made up the decor. In the far northeast corner of the room was a solid wooden dining chair, peculiarly facing towards the wall. John creeped and clambered closer, eager to investigate. His hand just touched the back of the chair when a previously unnoticed radio sprung to life. It must have turned on when the lights powered up. Only seconds later, another sound harmonized with the static of the radio. Someone was moaning. John finished rotating the chair and recoiled in horror. There was Samantha, tied down to the chair and gagged. Dr. Beckett was up to something after all. He couldn't believe what this vile man could do to his own flesh and blood. Her wavy dark hair was falling away and landed all over her clothes, and her skin was wrinkled and dehydrated, full of holes from a syringe or an IV. One of John's hands could completely envelop her frail twig-like wrists. When was the last time she'd eaten? Oh, jeez. What has he done to you? In only a matter of seconds, John leapt into action and untied her. The poor girl had suffered enough, and he would not condemn her to this cruel and unusual fate a moment longer. He tried to make her stand up, but she kept collapsing into the chair. "Samantha," he urgently whispered to her as he tapped her on the cheek. "You gotta get up, please. I'll get you out of here, but you have to help. Can you understand me?" Her narrowly opened eyes grew wider. "Oh, thank God you're still in there. Come on, let's get you out of here." She looked like she wanted to say something. Her mouth unhinged wide as a snake. But there were no words. There was only growling and hissing. Something John would expect, perhaps maybe from Zeus or some other rabid animal. But this didn't seem human. Suddenly, with renewed vigor, she pounced, landing on top of John. Her teeth plunged into his jugular vein. Blood sprayed out like a fire hose. "Samantha, what are you doing? It's me, John." The words were getting harder to come out now, reduced to just slightly coherent gurgles. The bites came faster and faster. There was no stopping her, or her insatiable lust. "Help! Help! Anybody! Please!" Dr. Beckett came crashing down the stairs. "Samantha! Oh my God! How did you get out? This wasn't supposed to happen! We can still save you!" The last thing John could hear, while his consciousness faded, was the radio, no longer static. Emergency broadcast in progress. This is not a test. The President has declared a nationwide emergency as civil authorities around the country are reporting record-high levels of rampancy among infected. Anyone showing suspected signs of illness should be isolated until further notice. Infected individuals are highly volatile and extremely dangerous. Stay indoors, close all windows, and await further instructions. If you or a loved one has been bitten, seek medical attention immediately. It was just like old times. John and Samantha would be together forever. And this time, he couldn't keep her away from him.